excuse me, child. It's a whole mess. I'm gonna give you the information that I have it. We're gonna be talking about some things that I saw on the blogs. But first, please hit that like button. You see it. Support the channel. Support the channel. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, and I want you to tell a friend and tell a kin, tell a coworker. You tell anyone and everybody that I'm over here making these videos. All right. We got a special guest. I'm fixing to bring her on the stage. You all know her as Miss Katt, Miss Boogie Down Productions Katt. She gets in there and she digs real deep in all this information and gives you all of this legal ease with the ability to explain it for us lay people. So I'm fixing to bring on Miss Katt.
Hey. Hi, Pam.
Hello there. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. And I'm going to say to my audience first, because I put it live on my channel, but I'm only going to keep it live for 30 minutes. I just want you guys to know that we're doing this, and come on over to Pam's channel. The link to her channel is in the description if you're watching it on my stream. So come over here. It's a Pam's channel.
Come on over. You see your girl is rocking her Bantu knots.
So good.
Hair is trying to dry, so y'all gonna take these Bantu knots. So listen, we're just gonna go over some stuff. I'm gonna share my screen real quick, and then we're gonna get into the stuff that I know that you have more expertise on than I do. All right, y'all, we're gonna hit us some today's update. So how we're gonna work this stream out is this. I'm gonna go over some topics. We're gonna go through those topics. After we go through those topics, if there's anyone that wants to join, you can join the stream. I'm going to put the link in the comment section. What I ask is, in order for you to join, you're going to have to download the StreamYard app on your phone, and I think there's a StreamYard app on however you're watching this, to join that, because that's going to be easy for you to get the link. Okay. Also, when you come in, I want to see your face backstage. But if you want to use your avatar as you get on stage, that's fine. I would love to see your face. I would love for the people to see your face. But, I understand this. A lot of us are not really ready for this kind of stuff like this. So what are we going over today? Y'all, first of all, I want to go over this story right here. Now, I saw this story on the blog. So let me get over here. Let me.
I saw you tagged Acorn, and I was like, what is Acorn?
So I will tell you this, y'all. I'm so glad that no one was hurt in this, but I have to just.
Oh, it's Florida, of course.
Let me close this off real quick. Let me move this because I got to see. Wait a minute. Let me see. I got to see it. I told y'all I still need that guy from the court.
Oh my God, he's bussing. Because of Acorns?
Let me tell you the story. Behind this. So this is in Florida. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Let me just get us up here.
Of course it's Florida.
Well, Florida is its own unique place. Florida, we truly do. So this officer has resigned. So apparently what happened is that the girlfriend of the suspect called the police because the boyfriend was wilding out, doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So the police came, they put him in the police car. Right as he put him in the police car, an acorn fell out of the tree onto the police car. The police officer decides that shots are being fired. So he gets the bucking through the neighborhood talking about shots are fired. They have the suspect in the car handcuffed. He's shooting all at the car.
Can you imagine him being him?
I just can't even imagine nothing. All I know is by the time we got to the police station, they'd be cleaning out the back of that car. So we have this young man in this car. You got the girlfriend at the thing, the other officers over here. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to show you what I see. Let's see where we are. Hold on, y'all. Uh-oh. I didn't mean to lose Katt.
The StreamYard switches are annoying. The screens.
So here we go. Now we're not going to show all of it, but this is, let me, can y'all hear that?
Stay inside your house. Stay inside your house.
This may be the bad part of it, but I gave you the gist of the story. Can y'all hear this in the chat? Can y'all hear it in the chat?
So yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear that? That's the girlfriend screaming from the house that we're hearing.
Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can move it and start it again.
We celebrated the Chiefs'
We're gonna be
victory
talking about
in.
that. Let me go back.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! You know.
Is he just shooting at a person standing over there?
I'm hit! I'm hit!
So we won't stop sharing because I don't want them to take my screen
Who
down.
is? There's a figure. There's a person in the back of that, right? Walking.
There is. There are people standing there. There's people standing around watching this young man get arrested. The acorn falls off the tree and hits the police car. He thinks that somebody is shooting at him. So he then decides to start shooting all throughout the place, doing barrel rolls and everything like that. And he shot up all the place. He's talking about he getting shot. The police, the other officer, I don't know what he was doing or where he was doing it, but he brings all the police in, and then everyone looks at the, I guess they look at the body cam and they're like, "You are stupid. You have."
Well, let's hope this girl was telling the truth about him having a. Because I saw in the detail it said that she in calling she was like, he has a silencer. He has multiple firearms and a silencer. So that silencer detail could be kind. It's not to like exonerate what the barrel roll guy. We're gonna call him barrel roll. Like, it's not to say like you should be buck wild firing, but I guess a tink on a metal car with a. I don't. That doesn't make sense.
But the suspect was you and your partner put the suspect in the car, handcuffed behind his back. So at that point, if the girlfriend says he had a silencer, at that point,
who's the other person that would be firing then?
Yeah. It was, I'm telling you, the squirrels got that heat on them right now. The squirrels are out here seeing the police and they like, we finna drop these acorns on you.
No, and it has to be Florida.
Well, I'm so sorry, Katt.
But that's crazy. He really did. Usually cops aren't that athletic, so like he just really did a barrel roll and got right back up though. So like,
well, I will tell you this, and this is the thing that
was entertaining.
It was, but it's also scary at the point. Here's my thing on that, and here's just my commentary on that. Stop hiring these scary ass folks to be police officers. And what I mean by that is he was so spooked. He didn't even use any of the training that they have to be able to assess the situation. Get yourself.
He unloaded a whole mag because he had to drop the mag out. You see it in the video. Like, I wasn't paying attention to the number of rounds he fired. Like, I wasn't counting when you played it, but he drops the mag out. So, and he had no target in sight or no.
And he is shooting while doing said barrel roll. So, I mean, he is out here just.
Do you think he went home and played, like, what video game do you think barrel roll plays the most, guys?
Video game people. Video game people. What video game does the most barrel rolls?
I'm going to say Star Fox 64.
Oh, Lord, I don't even know what that is.
It's a space flight game, but the planes can do barrels, and the one character's like, do a barrel roll all the time.
Listen. Let's see who's in here. I just started and I see the chat is going. Let's see who's in there. Hey, hello. What is it? What? Watchdale? Is that what it is? Watchdale? Let me know. Hey, Katt. Blue Queen TV. Hello. Love the hair. Thank you. I'm trying to dry it. Next 2 weeks.
It looks so good.
But I'm trying to dry my hair. This is the best. This is for me the easiest way to dry my hair so it won't be all on my neck and stuff. Thank you.
I just cut all mine off, so I don't have that problem.
Thank you. It's Eliza. Love the banter. Hey, Katt. Thank y'all. Hey, Blue. Hello there. Well, thank you all again. Thank you all. Like I said, this is how I dry my hair, and I wasn't going to I was going to put something over it, but I was like, child, they just going to have the CD band twos. No, he was in the back seat. He was in police custody at that point. He was handcuffed. They had come. They had arrested him. I am making all these assumptions. These are the things that I know that they're supposed to have
The
done.
detail said that they did that, and I think it even said that they searched him, obviously, which they should do. That should be protocol. So if he still had a gun, I mean, it's their fault for not finding it.
I'm gonna read the details. So it says, and this is from the Neighborhood Talk. This is a blog. It says, neighbors, this is just senseless. A Florida police officer has stepped down after it was discovered that he mistook a falling acorn for a gunshot from an already detained suspect. According to the NYP Post, Okaloosa County Sheriff's Deputy Jesse Hernandez and Sergeant Beth Roberts responded to a domestic dispute that was called in by the victims. Marquise Jackson's girlfriend. The woman called to report Marquise for allegedly stealing her car and threatening her. She also claimed Marquise had multiple firearms and a silencer. When the officers arrived, they immediately detained, searched, and handcuffed Marquise and put him in the back of the patrol car. As he was detained, the officers began to search the area for the woman's car. When Hernandez walked by, an acorn fell on the roof of the car, and Hernandez thought it was gunshots and immediately fell to the ground yelling, "Shots fired." He and Roberts then fired multiple rounds inside the car. "I'm hit," Hernandez continued to yell despite sustaining no injuries. Then more officers arrived on the scene with their guns, all while Marquise was still in the back inside the patrol car, handcuffed. His girlfriend can be heard in the video screaming in agony. Once the situation escalated and an investigation was conducted, it was unveiled that the sound Hernandez heard was, in fact, an acorn. When Hernandez learned of his mistake, he was in disbelief. He claimed he really believed it was gunshots. I'm not going to... Lord have mercy. Can this... Oh.
I see another image. They pat him down. They did pat him down.
I'm not going to say no because, I mean, that's what I... 10 seconds pause in speaking. What I heard, 3 seconds pause in speaking, sounded almost like 12 seconds pause in speaking. What I heard sounded what I think would be louder than a... I can't read any more of that. That doesn't make any sense to me. No criminal charges will be against the officers, but Hernandez resigned on his own, and Roberts wasn't found for any wrongdoing due to her responding to what she believed was an officer-involved shooting. Just,
yeah, this is a bit to digest because is refusing to return the car, but the girlfriend's there, right? So if he has the car, does he have it like off premise somewhere and he's there near her? Because she's the one screaming in the background.
Apparently he got there in her car. So he had her car. He apparently
and then wouldn't give the keys back over.
And wouldn't give the keys back, wouldn't give anything back to her. So she called the police saying that he stole her car.
So then how couldn't these, because there's more than just the 2 deputies. It was like a sergeant and like 3 deputies, and they can't find this car, but we can audibly hear the girlfriend, but these deputies can't find the car. So, that's my question. There's 4 of them there.
You are dodging squirrels at this point. You done got into the neighborhood. You are dodging squirrels. You know, the squirrels are out here shooting and everything like that. But you're right. I'm confused as to you're walking in the neighborhood looking for the car. At some point, does the
it says they found it 3 miles away in this article.
Okay. 3 miles
So it was
away.
somewhere.
It was way down the street, but he got there. So he parked the car somewhere and then walked 3 miles to get to the girlfriend's house. And this is where all of this took place. So what are y'all thinking about this? We're gonna move on. I'm gonna continue to go through the chat to see who is here. But this is just wild. This is just really, really wild. This was probably one of the wildest stories I've heard outside of the guy in Florida who walked up on the couple and he ate the people's face. He chewed on the people's face. You remember that a few years back?
Yeah, that's a Florida story. That's a Florida like centerpiece, because we have a lot, right? But that's like one of the top 5 Florida stories.
That was the story that made me think that Florida's got other things going on. Let's see what you all are saying out in the chat. This man is stupid. Oh, yes. Yes. Did he yell, "I'm hit"? Yes, he did. He yelled, "He's hit." He was hit.
He says he felt an impact in the right upper torso area, according to the internal investigation report. Do you want to read this article? I'm going to send you the link in the private chat.
Okay. Please.
It
Please.
gets juicy in the middle. The header says, "I mean, that's what I heard." But I think these have some details because we get the little internal investigation things.
Thank you, Samurai Nelson. I knew it was somewhere I was seeing Police Academy, barrel rolls, and all kinds of stuff like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. Silencers aren't silent, and they searched him prior. I don't even know if I'm thinking about it being racial bias than just being a very scary ass police officer. He heard a sound and he didn't. It just seems like there is supposed to be another step before you start just emptying your.
Well, and this article says 2 people were firing. The sergeant also started firing. Beth
The
Roberts.
lady, yes, the lady.
Right? So there's 2 of the 4. Because there's 4 that are total there. 3 deputies, 1 sergeant. But Sergeant Beth also starts shooting because she hears her partner say that shot fired through the car. So she's like obviously reacting off his account of, dang, he got the rifle.
All right, we're gonna stop sharing that one, and we're going to. Where did that article go? Was it new tab?
It was in the private chat.
I opened it up.
Oh.
Here we go. Here we go. I see it. I had opened it up, and then I told y'all I am not technically.
Yeah, this article seems to have a lot of detail, so I'm not sure why this one has so much, but I didn't read it all. I just saw a couple juicy bits about the internal investigation.
Let me do this. I'm gonna read it to y'all. Let me get it somewhere that thine eyes can see it clearly. It says video shows deputy repeatedly shoot at man after thinking falling acorn was gunfire. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a better view. We won't play the sound, but we definitely will let you all see this video first.
Okay, so it's still his camera. It's still Jesse Hernandez's camera.
Now, this is the other ladies. This is the other cops.
So the person standing down the way is Beth, then. Beth Roberts. From his camera, because now we're looking at Beth's camera. That's him being searched before they put him in the car. They show the barrel roll again.
Yes. This is an absolute mess.
I'll be honest though, guys, when I see like hiring ads for careers down, I'm in Brevard County, it's a different county, so the sheriff pay might be different. I don't know if that's a state regulated thing. But the town I'm in, they offer like $32,000 a year as salary. I've even seen it below $30,000, and that's the advertising that they're doing to try to recruit new police officers for the town. So, what kind of cream of the crop do you think that that's going to?
You're not.
Recruit?
You're not. You're not going to get. And plus, even with that, now I know the state that I live in. It's what, like a 6 weeks. It's like a 6 weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks training. If you come from another place where you were a police officer, it's like 2 weeks.
But that's still stacked up because you already had the training to get to the first place.
Right. But here's the thing. If you come from another place and you have had a lot of shootings and what do you call that?
Or if you have a bad reason that you don't want to work in your area anymore because you have enemies on the street, or you just did a crappy job, you don't like your coworkers, that means you're the worst. So a relocating person might not be, we're not moving because the kids want to go to a new school district. We're moving because I'm not well liked here, and there's a reason.
Charges or something like that. And like if you come to my state, they don't hold those things quote unquote against you. So you could be coming from somewhere that has you've had a lot of issues. You can come here and, like I said, you do your little 2 or 3 weeks. They say, oh, this slate is pretty clean. You're here. This is your fresh start. And you come and you can start doing all the stuff that you had been doing before. But they're trying to get bodies, and they're trying to get bodies on the street. All right. So let's go through this article. A Florida sheriff's deputy is seen on video opening fire on a black man who was searched, handcuffed, and placed in the patrol vehicle after the deputy mistook the sound of a falling acorn for a gunshot. Like I said, the squirrels got their heat on them right now. The body camera video released on Monday by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office shows Deputy Jesse Hernandez yelling, "Shots fired! Shots fired!" multiple times as he falls to the ground and repeatedly fires into the patrol vehicle. This is last year. Interesting. But last year was only
That's been a foil or a FOIA. Something must have came out.
Marquise Jackson was suspected of stealing his girlfriend's car earlier that morning and was restrained in the back seat. He was luckily unharmed by the gunshots, but he said the incidents left him traumatized. Bring that girl car back. Don't be right on that girl car. She could have called the police on you. Marquise, come on now. Okay.
Someone tell him to join this live. We'll tell him.
You need to come and let us know. Don't keep that girl's car too long. She needed. She probably had to go to work, and you riding around in her car. I digress. Marquise Jackson was suspected of stealing his girlfriend's car early in the morning and was restrained in the back seats. He was luckily unharmed by the gunshots, but he said the incidents left him traumatized. Hernandez, who has resigned from the sheriff's office, has not been charged. Okaloosa County deputies responded to a call on the morning of November 12th in Fort Walton Beach, about 65 miles west of Panama City. And they're near you, Katt. On Florida's Panhandle, the sheriff's office said in a news release last week, a woman called to report her boyfriend, Jackson, was refusing to return her car and had been calling and texting her threats, the release said. Deputies Javier Reyna and Deja Riley and Jesse Hernandez and deputies Javier Reyna, Deja Riley, Jesse Hernandez, and Sergeant Beth Roberts responded. Jackson walked up to the scene around 10 minutes after the police officers arrived. He was detained, searched, handcuffed, and placed in the back of Hernandez's patrol car. The woman then completed an affidavit for the stolen vehicle. She told deputies that Jackson had a silencer and that she was not sure where it was and that he had had more than one weapon, the release said. Riley and Reyna left to search for the missing vehicle. They found it about 3 miles away. As Roberts continued to work with the woman, Hernandez approached his patrol car to conduct a secondary search of Jackson when he heard a pop sound. So I'm going to stop here. Is it customary for police officers to do a secondary search?
Especially if they're already detained. Like, what exactly are they looking for? Because it seems like they came back with... They already knew that the car was located at this point. And then they're trying to have the girlfriend fill out a victim's advocate form. But they don't need to really do that anymore if the property is returned or found, right?
Okay.
So the next question would be, why would they need more? To me, it seems like a secondary search might have been they want to continue making an arrest, even though they might have found out that the car wasn't actually stolen. Maybe it was located and it was broken down. Like, we don't actually know those details, but I'm just saying, like, perhaps the second search wasn't to double check that there are no weapons. Because why would you, I don't know, maybe someone else knows better than me, but I don't think that's, why would you want to check again after someone's in the back seat handcuffed, restrained?
At that point, because it was 4 officers, and so at least you would have that. To me, that with 4 officers there, it seems
3
like
watched the pat down. At least we don't see the 4th. We know the person with the body cam looking at the 2 others do the pat down. So at least 3 people observed the pat down.
Okay. So let's keep on. Shots fired. When Hernandez was approaching the passenger side rear door, an acorn could be seen striking the top of his patrol car, according to the internal investigation from January. Did we see that? We have to go back and watch that because I don't know if I saw that. Hernandez perceived the sound to be a gunshot and believed he had been hit. Y'all know I'm still getting over the flu. He yelled, shots fired, multiple times, fell to the ground, barrel rolled. Don't just say roll. That was a well executed barrel roll and began firing his semi-automatic pistol into the patrol car, according to the body camera video of the incident. Roberts asked where the shots were coming from, in which Hernandez answered, "In the car." "Jesse, are you okay?" Roberts yelled shortly after. Hernandez is heard in the video saying, "I'm hit. I'm hit." After she saw Hernandez open fire, Roberts responded with gunshots of her own. "He shot through the car," Hernandez says, as he crawled on his hands and knees to find cover behind a parked vehicle. "I'm good. I feel weird, but I'm good." Embarrassed. That's the better word. Embarrassed. All I could depend on was God. Jackson recounted now this is coming from the young man in the car, Marquise. Jackson recounted the incident on Facebook, writing about the experience of being shot at while handcuffed and strapped down by the seatbelts in the back of the patrol car. "All I could do was lean over and play dead to prevent getting shot in the head," Jackson wrote.
That's his actual Facebook post, actually. If you click the link, it takes you to the actual Facebook link, and it's his Facebook.
Right here?
Yeah, where it's highlighted. That I think the highlight text was Jackson wrote.
Ooh, this is scary.
But if you notice, he's saying it, he posted this February 7th. So I think what happened is the police department, or the sheriff's office did an investigation and found that the one officer committed a violation. They're not charging him criminally. But now Marquise probably gets to say something and has an opportunity to pursue civil litigation against the one officer, because they only found a violation against
one officer,
Jesse Barrel Roll. So.
Barrel Roll himself. So here's his account. We're going to read his account. I wonder, can I make this big? On November 12th, 2023, I, Marquise Jackson, was stopped by the Okaloosa County Sheriff on McLaren Circle in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. While walking, another officer demanded another officer to search me. I was confused on why I was being searched.
Oh, wait, can you switch your screen? I think you have the other tab.
I'm so sorry. Let me see.
That's okay. I do that all the time.
So. I keep telling y'all, I am not.
It's a StreamYard thing.
Okay, let's get to Marquise. Here we go. I wonder, can I do the whole tab? No, I don't want to do the whole tab. That's too much. Share. Here we go. Sorry, y'all. I'm just reading. So where was I? I decided to cooperate and just follow demands. I knew I had not done anything wrong. Marquise, you didn't bring that girl a car back. All right. I was searched multiple times, then unlawfully handcuffed and placed into the back seat of the cop car while being strapped down by the seatbelt. A few moments later, I hear an officer scream, "I'm hit. He's armed." As soon as that was announced, multiple shots were fired at me while I was stuck in the back seat. All I could do was lean over and play dead to prevent getting shot in the head. I was scared to death, and I knew all I could depend on was God. I ignored everything and prayed. Windows were shattering on me the whole time as bullets continued flying across me. I was blessed not to get hit by any bullets or get hurt physically, but mentally, I'm not okay. I haven't been the same since, and I don't think this feeling I have will ever change. Okay, so we're gonna stop there because this is making me sad. We're gonna keep moving, but we get the basically gist of it. I just want to go back down here. If he's
I hope he sues.
It's okay. Uh-oh. They then took me to Okaloosa County Courthouse to book me into the system by taking pictures and fingerprints. I continued to ask every officer I saw what I was being charged with, and they said the same thing. I don't know. We're waiting on more information. I sat in the cell for hours. Eventually, an officer told me I was free to go and that I'm not charged with anything. Okay, because that's what I wanted to know, what he felt like he was being charged with. All right, people.
They just had him all that for nothing.
But
I mean, if they gave him a violation, he has a nice leg up to do a civil suit because he can say the sheriff's office found that Jesse Hernandez barrel roll guy committed a policy violation according to his role at the sheriff's office. So that's a nice leg up for him to bring a civil suit forward. But I can't imagine sitting in a car and just police officers firing at you while you're in handcuffs sitting in the back seat of a car.
Backseat of a car. Backseat of a car. And you don't have any way, and you're handcuffed and you're strapped in. So you don't have any way or anyhow to be able to move or maneuver out of the way. So if he stood sitting up, he probably wouldn't be here. Yeah, his scary self has to go. I agree. I agree, Blue. I agree. No pun intended. But
Well, then the other thing too is if he's not charged with anything, it sounds like he wasn't actually stealing a car. So how did we even get to this point? Like, this poor guy, I hope he's single. And obviously what was said about him could be true, but, the whole thing of like, well, does he have any weapons? Look, when I lived in Rochester, it was a thing. You're supposed to, if you want the cops to show up, you're supposed to say that there are firearms, whether there are or not. Otherwise, the cops aren't going to show up. So,
wow.
Sometimes when I hear someone saying like, oh yeah, there's guns, he has guns, it seems like you want the police. It could just be that you want the police to show up and not take an hour to get there.
Yeah. And she did mention that he had a silencer. So silencers are not actually silent, huh?
No, they're not silent. And then in the article I mentioned in the investigative report, that's what actually I noticed when I opened it. He said he felt like he was struck, which is a problem because how could you be struck if there was no one shooting? But he says, quote, Hernandez says he heard what he believed was a, quote, suppressed weapon. So he took what he heard from this girl's report and he's telling the internal investigation people, well, I heard what I believed was a suppressed weapon. Like, it's the start of the second paragraph under that header, the first sentence there.
Right here. Hernandez says he heard what he believed was a suppressed weapon as he reached for the rear door handle of his patrol car. He felt an impact on the right upper torso area.
How? Did the acorn flick at you? How hard? Like, Pam, can we talk about acorn physics?
I'm trying to tell you, the heading on my thing says the squirrels are throwing that heat right now. So he must have felt another acorn somewhere. A squirrel must have threw another acorn at him. I'm not sure. Because if it hit the car, did it ricochet backwards at you? I'm unsure. How did it? Anyway, let's keep going. The original reason I was firing was because I was sitting in the open there. You heard the shot. You heard what you believed was a shot. You believed that you was hit. Hernandez told the investigator, I had only moved a couple of feet from where I felt. I had just been shot from the back of this patrol car, and I didn't know how I was going to get up and move to the covered area.
Well, what's weird too is, I mean, maybe his aim's better than I think, but it seems like he was just firing in the direction of where the sergeant was standing, which is just like, you put your own colleague at risk. And then the colleague looks like she's facing the other way, like towards the car. So he's firing this way and she's standing over here, but then her body cam is angled this way. And we know she started firing at some point. So what are they like? Is this like a Western where they're shooting out at each other and there's nobody else there?
You had brought up something. See, my mind goes to, it did look that way. And my mind's like, is there something going on between these two particular officers that that Officer Hernandez
just panic. Just panic. Probably just blind panic.
He just started shooting at the car and just, I don't know. Hernandez was shown still photos taken from his body camera video of the Acorn bouncing off the roof of his patrol car. The internal investigation report says investigators asked whether it was possible the noise he heard could have been the Acorn. I'm not going to say so because, I mean, that's what I heard, Hernandez said. What I heard sounded what I think would be louder than an acorn hitting the roof of the car. But there's obviously an acorn hitting the roof of the car. So let's get to the internal investigation and we will let this go. It says the Sheriff's Office of Professional Standards and Conduct conducted an internal investigation into Hernandez and Roberts' actions on November 12th. Hernandez's use of force was determined not to be objectively reasonable, and it violated the policy regarding the excessive use of control to resistance. The investigation concluded. He resigned in December while under investigation. Roberts was exonerated as the Office of Professional Standards found her use of deadly force to have been objectively reasonable. Because I can imagine if you see people shooting, that would be the instance that would be the instance that you do. What do you think, Katt?
Yeah. I mean, they exonerated her, and that to me makes sense. It's a little bit, I guess they're gonna not press criminal charges on him because, one, I don't think there was loud pushback, especially, I don't know what happened before Marquise Jackson made that Facebook post, but it seems like maybe that was the first time he really spoke on it since it all happened. It's been over a year. And then it looks like they released the video this week. So this video wasn't out there for there to be outrage a year ago, right? Because it's when the video comes out, people watch it, right? That's what makes things go viral, when you can watch this stupid guy on camera take a barrel roll because of an acorn. So
he posted it on February 7th, so it was way after they had concluded. I don't know if that was after they had when they concluded their investigation, because I know that they Hernandez left in December, so I'm quite sure that the investigation happened in the month of December, possibly into January, and they made that conclusion. And then Marquise didn't make his Facebook post to February 7th.
yes, I'm not sure when they gave him the violation, but I really think if there was pressure right away, like if the virality happened back then, there may have been some type of consideration for a criminal charge, because the public is going to be like, this is crazy. But now that so much time has gone by, they're probably like, well, he resigned. We're going to throw the bone with the one violation, and he can sue civilly, and that's going to be what it is. Yeah. And I hope he does. Like, he wasn't charged with anything, and he had to go through all of that.
Exactly.
There's no reasonableness on the part of Jesse, barrel roll guy.
We understand the situation was traumatic for Mr. Jackson and all involved, and have incorporated this officer involved shooting it into our training to try to ensure nothing similar happens again, Sheriff Eric Aiden said. We are very thankful Mr. Jackson wasn't injured, and we have no reason to think former Deputy Hernandez acted with any malice. So.
That's a lot. I was like, oh, why are we going to talk about acorns? It's going to be like a little joke or something cute, right? And then it's a guy freaking out because...
Yes. Police training equals respond to acorn. Bath salts. Yes, that's what bath salts were big 10 years ago. Because I remember there was a guy on a bridge who was on those bath salts in Florida. And he was harassing and terrorizing the neighborhood then. Suburbia Jones.
I think it was more than one. I think it became a concern. At least people were concerned that it was more than one person doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you guys imagine when they do a Law and Order episode of this? Two nuts.
Olivia Benson.
But y'all read this with what the sheriff said. Right here. We understand this situation. We understand the situation was traumatic for Mr. Jackson and all involved, and have incorporated this officer involved shooting into our training to ensure nothing else happens again.
So they're all going to watch barrel roll video? That's their training now?
Barrel roll, barrel roll, barrel roll. Yes.
Although, you know what? Let me be fair. Maybe that is effective, because there's the embarrassment factor, right? Where it's like, well, I definitely don't want to be that guy. So let me be a little bit more reserved before I start firing into a vehicle where someone's detained and strapped down.
A mess. He can't even get some type of reckless charge or something? You talking about the officer?
Well, yeah, they're not. They said that they're not charging him. They mentioned pending litigation, but it sounds to me like civil.
The girlfriend gaslighted them with a silencer remark that leads them to question that there's an investigation.
Yeah, and that's where I'm stuck because they ultimately didn't charge him with anything, but she filled out a whole affidavit about a stolen vehicle.
Right. Sounds like they were looking for something extra to add to the manager's. Because thank you, Jane Doe. Because I was wondering, why are you going back to do a second pat down when 2 officers sat there and patted the young man down in the first place? Yeah, it doesn't sound, because a silencer makes this a federal case. Interesting.
That's
It's
true. I think that's true. I don't think that that's allowed in Florida.
Gotcha. So I knew there was, because again, these S words, you know what? These S words are coming up too much and I can't understand what's going on. Now we have
No, it
silencer.
can. It depends on the gun. So it is allowed.
Mm, mm. This cop thought he was in a movie.
Oh, okay, hold on. Apparently there you could even have a silencer on your AR-15 or AK-47. So remember I was like, oh, only certain guns. It seems like it's okay. But, Florida.
Queen TV says most likely what happened was he borrowed the car and they started arguing and probably on the phone. He says, I'm about how he ain't gonna bring the new car back, and she called the police. That was me being jokey at the beginning of this. If Marquise used to brought that girl her car back, because this lets me know this scenario, because this happens over and over again. You let someone borrow your car,
hold the car,
and then you need your car, and then he don't want to bring it back, and then all of this spiraled into that.
Well, there was something mentioned that there was another report about a car driving around that neighborhood blaring the horn on and off since 3 a.m. So something was going on with some car. And if it was her saying that it's my car that's been missing and it was him driving around honking around, he's either bothering her or they were out together drunk and she just, I don't know. There's so many possibilities if that is even related. 3 a.m, car honking, causing trouble. Sounds like someone's partying and shouldn't be driving that car anyway.
Tracker QST3 says silencer is a creation of Hollywood. A real silencer doesn't exist. It takes a loud gunshot and makes it sound less loud. Okay.
Yep.
So basically he heard the.
You would not have thought it was coming from right next to you if it would have been an Acorn dinking on the metal of a car. You would not, to me, there's no way that you would think that gunshot would have been from close proximity.
Well, in Texas when they.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's the Clenney reference, Pam. Because Frank Preto. Frank Preto. Okay. Courtney says the knife was flung. And people are like, well, how do you fling a knife and it lands and it punctures, goes 3 inches, it punctures your subclavian artery. Up wrong shoulder. It was over here that he actually, right here is where his fatal. It was only one time and it was right here. But she said while speaking with police that she flung the knife at him. And she absolutely would have been insane if she stabbed him with it. That's the issue. She's claiming she threw it, flung it. And Frank Preto, trying to make it sound believable, is like, when Texans use the word fling, they mean throw with all your might. So that's the joke Tracker's making.
We're gonna get to that. I put a star in that comment so I can get back to it. Actually, squirrels throw pretty hard. I don't know. He thought the man he was holding with his firearms, cuffed behind his back, somehow pulled the firearm out and shot him. Interesting. All right. So we're just we're gonna move on from this story. We are gonna move on from this story. And we're gonna get to our next story. That's let me get back to where's my Instagram page? Did I lose my Instagram page? Okay, yeah. Again, I need let's get down here. Hold on, y'all. Because I had that story saved up too. Where are we?
Is this the New York one? The judgment?
Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Let's get in here. Here we go. Let's get to subbies. Right here. It says, sheesh. Donald Trump ordered to pay $354 million in damages for committing business fraud in the city of New York. It says, and we'll probably go to the NBC News. He says, woo, Donnie can't catch a break. A New York judge just ordered him to pay $354 million in damages for committing business fraud. He is also not to allowed to conduct any business in the city for 3 years. What are you all's thoughts? Let's go into
The 3 years thing seems kind of stupid. Like, why not just... I mean, maybe there's like statutes outlining that, where that's like what they could min max.
All right, so I've got to find a. All right, so let's stop sharing that. Let's go here. Hello, Dr. Hines. How are you? Y'all welcome Dr. Hines to the program. How you doing there, sir?
I'm good, thank you so much. It's the first time I've been here, so I'm very happy to be on one of your streams. And Katt,
I'm shocked to see. I was saying I didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm shocked to see you on a Saturday. Is it technically Sunday by you now?
Well, it's actually 11 o'clock. It's technically
Okay,
Sunday.
so you got one more hour of Saturday.
Yeah. So yeah, Katt knows I rarely I rarely do anything on Saturdays, but today is a good day.
I feel honored.
Huh?
I feel honored because this is it's real late because you're in London. And shout out to my international fans that are coming and watching this, because I understand that it's like 6 or 7 hours ahead. I really appreciate y'all. I really do appreciate y'all.
I feel so egocentric sometimes because people will be like, "Oh, it's like 3 a.m. here," and I'm like, "What are they talking about? It's only 6:49," and I'm like, "The world doesn't revolve around me. It's not my time." So
we get to be a little right. It says so. Here we go. This is from Reuters, written by Jack Queen and Luke Cohen. It says Trump hit with a $354.9 million penalty plus 3-year ban in a New York civil fraud case. So if anybody's aware, it seems like in almost several jurisdictions, Donald Trump is being sued. He's being sued. I know he was sued civilly by a woman who claimed he raped her, R''d her. He's being sued for some election fraud in the state of Georgia. Have the federal government talked to him about those documents, those in Mar-a-Lago yet? Has he come across for anything like that yet? Do you know, Katt? I don't think he has. They were just still investigating.
listen, if I followed there's so many things chasing down Trump. If I tried to dive into any of them, any single one of them, I feel like you guys would never hear from me again. Like, it would just be a complete rabbit hole. It would never end.
Well, actually, no. This makes sense. Why I'm just reading the Times article on him. It makes sense why he's only getting a ban and not a jail sentence, because especially for business fraud, what they're alleging here, it would carry a prison sentence, 4 year, maximum 4 years. So in regards to this, they said that he didn't commit fraud per se, but it was
that's my gist is it's going to be an appeal issue, and then we're gonna have to hear this go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know how on earth this how they call it fraud when it's technically not fraud. Well, anyway, I don't. Anyway, do you think why do they hate him so much that they would actually go this far?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I did. Oh. I was responding to this comment and I wasn't paying attention. I can hear you, but I wasn't paying attention.
No worries.
Would you say it again, please?
I was saying, I was asking why they hate him so much that they would actually try and pin this on him when it doesn't look like he's actually committed it. Because well, they're using a law that what is it? It's what is it called? It's section 63. Can't say. Let me actually just give you the
Yeah,
title.
because I don't know specifically if you're saying it wasn't like a fraud trial. I don't know the exact thing that you're describing either, because I haven't looked into it. I just heard the dollar amounts and
We just heard it. We just heard the dollar amount and we just freaked out. Let me read what Reuters said.
we said money.
Yeah, that's $54 million. That's lottery winnings right there. Donald Trump must pay $354.9 million in penalties for fraudulently overstating his net worth to dupe lenders in a New York judge ruled on Friday, handing the former U.S. president another legal setback in a civil case that impedes his real estate empire. Justice Arthur Engoron, in a sharply worded decision issued after a contentious 3 months trial in Manhattan, also banned Trump, who was running to regain the presidency this year, from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation for 3 years. Trump's lawyers, Alina Hava, vowed to appeal. Engoron canceled his prior ruling from September ordering the dissolution of companies that control pillars of Trump's real estate empire, saying on Friday that this was no longer necessary because he is appointing an independent monitor and compliance director to oversee Trump's businesses. Trump and other defendants in the case, Engoron wrote in the ruling, are incapable of admitting the error of their ways. Interesting. Their complete lack of contrition and remorse borders on pathological, Engoron wrote. Instead, they adopt a see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil posture that the evidence belies. The
This is so many words, though. Why isn't it telling us what happened? like,
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's actually.
I feel like, okay, Tracker probably knows like all the details of everything, like more than this article.
Paragraph. The lawsuit brought by the New York Attorney General Letitia James accused Trump and his family businesses of overstating his net worth by as much as $3.6 billion a year over a decade to foot bankers into giving him
More money.
bankers into giving
Wait.
him better loan terms.
Wait,
Trump,
wait,
who
wait,
faces
wait.
loan charges
What's
in
the
4 other
difference?
cases, has called the lawsuit a political vendetta by James, a Democrat. Okay.
Hold
Let me
on.
get down here.
Wait. This is based on valuations, not actual.
It's based
Like
on
this-
his representation of his assets, his liquidity and assets that aren't liquid. So the issue would be his representation, because if you say that, oh, this much, but you knowingly are giving the wrong information, that's the issue.
So he basically filled out the loan fraudulently. Is basically that's from my late perspective. So when he was filling out his paperwork, they're saying that he overinflated his worth. So in other words, if I fill out for a credit card and they ask me how much I make, and I tell them I make $90,000 and I make $30,000, me stating that is fraudulent. Is that the gist of what I'm getting?
Yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it sounds. No, I. To be honest, it sounds like something that Trump would do. To be honest, but I don't.
Well, so
understand
the biggest thing with this case is he gave a valuation of Mar-a-Lago estate that ranged by, if I'm not mistaken, it was more than 50%. He gave a range of it where the lower limit and the upper limit was more than 50% more than his lower limit, which means you don't have an accurate assessment of the value of something. So in that case, because Mar-a-Lago is relevant to, these are my assets, this is my net worth, this is why I have collateral, you should give me this loan. So if the issue is how he represented the worth of something like Mar-a-Lago, but we have the judge saying, well, I disagree with that because I don't know the amounts exactly, but 15,000 to 25 or 15 million to 25 million, if it's some range like that, that's a pretty wide range. If you think about it in terms of the percentage increase of that range, going from 15 million to 25 million, that's a more than 50% jump from your lower limit. So it doesn't seem like you have a good meter, a barometer of the value of this asset. And unfortunately, if there's no comparable property, which I think everyone in the chat would kind of argue Mar-a-Lago is unique for whatever it is, where it's located, the name behind it. Until something actually sells, there really is no valuation of it. What I think my house is worth is not fair market value, right? That's
Right.
not determined. I can make guesses by using appropriate comparables. So a house that's like the same size, has the same features, same bedrooms, same neighborhood, walking area. I could see what else has sold recently and say, hey, based on that, I think mine is in this range. But if you don't have adequate comparables and the house hasn't sold in a long time, you don't really have much to go by. It's a guess. And I think I remember hearing that this judge gave a weird range. And to me, his range showed that he didn't have any precision in evaluating it. And I know that was one of the issues.
She says it's fraud because he would inflate his assets to gain loans from bank, then deflate his assets to get cheaper insurance. You can't have.
So
it
he would
both.
say the same thing on paper trails somewhere. It was not the same thing. He would say, relating to the same category of things, he would say, right now it's this, but on this other form it's this. So then in that case, it doesn't matter what the judge values the asset at so much as we know that you're not being truthful if you're giving two different statements.
He also lied that the square footage of some of his properties were larger than what they actually were doing appraisals. It's a lot, but it's fraud. You can't just make up numbers. Okay. Thank you, She Reigns Beauty.
Well, I mean, okay, fair. Okay, I personally think a lot of businesses do this all the time. It's just it's to, especially with loans. It's just to get it. It's just to get money in, etc. It's not like he's saying, if he's saying something like we're gonna make X amount of profits, right? And overestimating that by, let's say, oh, we are. How do I put it? Look at Disney, for example, right? They're going to need investors for Disney Plus, whatever, right? So they're going to say we are going to get, if we release this movie, The Marvels Forever, we are going to get 1 million subscribers coming in, right? But they might only get 250. That is an overinflation, if that makes sense.
But I think the problem is we're not looking at the real estate development and the amount that he was valuing his future projects to be worth. He was the underlying assets that should get you, lender, to give me this loan. This is my collateral. This is what it's valued at. This is what, you should let me qualify and underwrite me for this loan, which is different than just, they're probably also telling the lender, I'm going to use this money to do this, and these development projects are going to be worth that. But I don't think this legal case, what the judge was asked to determine, was the end result valuation and what he was representing. This isn't like a Sam Bankman-Fried or any of like the crypto people that, oh, this is going to be worth 100,000 per Bitcoin or whatever. The issue is what he said to get the money given to him based on his assets, not his projection on what he could return around for it.
Right, but that would be the accountant, though. That would actually be the accountant. But
I'm saying it's two different inputs and outputs. So both things go into a underwriting application, right? What are you going to use this money for? So that would be like, hey, I'm Disney and I'm going to say, well, you should invest in this because this is the money it's going to make on the back end. This is what we're projecting. So it'd be really smart for you to invest because you'll get a return on your money, right? This is the why, the rationale, and kind of like the promise, the future promise. But to show that I'm good faith for it, this is the assets I have to back it up. So if you're able to give me this and I fail on this thing that I'm confident I can do, I'm willing to risk and put these assets up as collateral. So you should underwrite me based on my net worth. So it's because it's the two legs of it, right? So the issue here is that assets for my risk, my collateral, my good word was the issue, not his future projections as development. Although I think there are people that are concerned, because I saw the Shark Tank guy was like, this has bad implications for real estate developers. So I think they're worried that this could set some type of principle, but
are the two divorced though? Like in terms of what I could make versus what I have? Are the two divorced of each other in a case like this? Do you know?
Yes, because you have to make the case like when someone's underwriting you, especially like this is not your average person applying for a mortgage for a $350,000 house. This is someone doing unique real estate development projects, right? The business that is part of the suit, and it was Eric and then Donald Trump Jr., right? But they're all part of the real estate. It was all based on real estate development loans for their real estate development business projects. Which means they're building unique things. Like when you talk about things like the Trump Hotel or a casino, that's kind of, yeah, there's some casinos that might be comparable, but there's such a unique subset. There's such a small fraction of commercial real estate projects, development projects that would be out there. So when someone comes in and you have to underwrite, this isn't your average mortgage banker deciding, hey, we're going to underwrite you for a common. We have all these statistics here that show if you make a $60,000 salary, as long as you have a down payment of X amount and you have an asset, a net worth, and a credit score of this, you're good for us. It's low risk for us to underwrite this loan. We're dealing with situations that have much fewer circumstances and sample sizes to underwrite, which means we really have to scrutinize your exact numbers that you're providing us and try to decide. So it's an and. It's not together. Right. It's not moving in the same thing. The underwriter has to decide on both. And I don't think that the valuation of future return was what was contested. It was you put these things up to assuage us of our own risk, our concern for our own risk to underwrite you, and you misrepresented that. Which means you fraudulently got this request for a loan underwritten by us. It's a lot, but
I completely know. I completely understand you, and that breakdown is really important because, like I said, I'm coming in from it. I don't really, I don't actually know how this is handled in New York per se. You know what I mean? So I actually thought they would consider both arguments like that, but I didn't know that they were actually separated and divorced of each other. So. So it is a lot, but yeah. So I got something in my throat. Apologies for that. But yeah, thanks for explaining.
Yeah, so that's why like Mar-a-Lago is a great example too, because even that valuation was questionable. I think that's why you'll see people want to see this, like other business people will want to see this go to appeal because they'll be nervous about the precedent it could set if you don't have comparables for your underlying assets and also the future performance of projects that you develop. But again, people being interested in a precedent or principle doesn't really mean that they disagree with the one person getting in trouble for something. In other words, this is going to keep going on. This is going to be appealed. And there's going to be like other people, friends of the court, saying, hey, appeals court, please consider this for other businesses.
Yeah. So my big thing was to know that this man is he has to pay a certain amount of money, and that is almost that's more than $250 million, almost $500 million. So that is a lot of money to be paying out for fraud, and plus he's got to pay. I can't remember what did he have to pay for this lady that sued him for the
several million. E. Jean Carroll. It was several million.
But
I think that was capped. Oh no, there's no cap in New York for punitive for that. Yeah. I don't think it was. Let's see.
I want to say it was like 62 million, but I'm not really sure.
65 million is the quick pull up. Okay.
65
65 for punitive. So 7.3 for damage to reputation, 11 million for emotional harm, and 65 for punitive. So, like around 85 total million.
Mm.
And if you guys have watched other cases in New York, that punitive, there's no upper limit. It's not like if you watched Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, they stuck a large punitive damage number to Amber Heard, but there's a statutory cap of like $350,000 in Virginia. So it was just like more symbolic, right? In New York, that's not the case. 65 million in punitive damages is 65 million in punitive damages.
Yeah, it's gonna stick. It's gonna stick. But I mean, to be honest, it's something that he can pay off in like that. It is what it is.
You think Trump can pay all that? Because if he's saying that he doesn't have whatever money that he has, I'd be interested to know if he could actually pay off of all of these things and how. Because we knew when he ran for office the first time, he completely overinflated his net worth or his worth of everything like that. Because first he was saying something about because he goes through so many bankrupt cases. Once somebody tries to challenge it, he goes through so many bankrupt cases. So I'm curious as to his actual net worth. Not that it means anything or not anything to me. I'm just curious. And with the 306 was it $54 million judgment against them, and I'm assuming that they're going to appeal. That would take a big chunk out of his net worth. It would take a big.
Can I shout out and interrupt and say thank you so much, Thane Mithra? You guys shout out Thane in the chat, even if you're in a different chat.
Wow, Thane.
I appreciate you, Thane. Thane has good commentary. Thane, Thane, you never make it into the live chats, right? I think this might be your first in a live here. But Thane always points out great things. I feel so blessed right now that you just sent that my way, and I appreciate you. But Thane will comment things like, hey, this is how, he wants me to look at the Princess Diana stuff, which I told him I would do. But that's a rabbit hole. But I do want to just thank you so much, Thane.
That is a rabbit. Shout out to Thane. Everybody shout out to Thane. Let's get into what this last comment about this. Trump is going to grift off his followers and he'll pay whatever. I did see that there was a GoFundMe. I don't know if it was real or not, but there was a GoFundMe about this $350-something million thing. I just kind of he has a lot of followers, and if he had 100 million of them, give him three.
Didn't they? It's a different platform. You're saying though, not GoFundMe. You're saying it's something like because didn't GoFundMe like take his stuff down?
It may have. I just, I was scrolling through and I saw it and I was like, this doesn't seem like this doesn't seem believable, because I think you can't crowd surf for payment of your legal bills, can you?
No.
I guess if you say it's for something else.
No, you can't.
I don't think
you can.
And that's why I thought it was fake, because I was like, oh, I don't think you could do that, because I remember who was it that was trying to something about legal bills, and I remember GoFundMe was saying something about you can't do that. You can't ask people to pay your legal bills.
I think it was Amber Heard. I think it was Amber Heard. I'm not sure.
Was it someone that started that GoFundMe for her though?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was. It didn't last long. I can't remember, but I do remember seeing something of that ilk.
Oh, so you're saying that Amber Heard did a GoFundMe, or someone did a?
It was someone for her. It was one of her biggest supporters, or something like that. Like
so it's like one of those things that you can't we can't really attribute it. You just kind of got to be like question that person, that because I think you have to read stuff when you create that you have the permission of the person doing it. So maybe the permission was given, but I would say it probably wasn't. I don't think most people are that stupid to put themselves in hot water. But Heinz is like,
we're gonna move on from this topic, and we're gonna get into really quickly. There was shots fired at the Kansas City parade after the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, was having a parade, a little function going on downtown, and that there were shots fired. If you want a really full overview of what happened, y'all go to Dre Mac's page. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, because this is such a for me, it's just senseless. It doesn't make any sense, but it is what happened in the news today. So I just wanted to kind of just quickly go over it. Do you all have any thoughts about this or anything like that, or any new information? I'm not going to read the article because my spirit is starting to feel a little bit down. Because it sounds like
was it two juveniles that were in a fight with each other and just firing wildly? It wasn't someone actually trying to target a crowd, right? Is that
correct?
It just
correct.
not
Two-
good to be shooting anyway, but it wasn't meant to be some massacre terrorist attack is my point.
Right.
It was senseless rather than
Just
I
anything.
don't know anything about this. Is it Super Bowl?
it was a
Yes.
party for the Kansas City Chiefs after like it was the next day, right?
Yeah, it was that Monday. They won the Super Bowl that Sunday, and so the Super Bowl champions in their city, they usually have like a big old parade to congratulate them, and they go down on floats and things like that. So in that area, and I'm going off from memory from everything that I've read, there was like hundreds of thousands of people there, and these two teens got into it with each other, and then they started shooting, and when they started shooting, they did, bullets have no names, and so they started shooting. They unalived a woman. They shot. It ended up there was a lot of young people, teenagers. I think they said the youngest person was like 7 years old that got shot. So you have a lot of teenagers and things like that that were injured in that particular melee. So
Well, it's just scary because was this still in Vegas or was this actually in Kansas City?
this is in Kansas City.
Okay, because I was also going to say, if the Super Bowl was in Vegas, so my thoughts were going to, they had that Mandalay Bay shooting like 7 years ago now. And a lot of the Super Bowl festivities took place at Mandalay Bay. Can you imagine? People must have instantly thought if this was in Vegas, I feel like people would have been stampeding. Like there would have been a lot more injuries just because that Mandalay Bay shooting, that's still the largest terrorist shooting in recent times, right? It was like 56 deaths from the upstairs. Yeah.
In the concert. Okay. Yeah.
So, because that's what I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, that had to be nuts. Because the Super Bowl stuff was right around that area. That could have been so different if people that were there thought it was another Mandalay Bay and just started running.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So let's get into our next case. So this is where Katt is more in tune on what's going on with this one.
Another 100. Damn, bowling.
Wait. V, I heard you bitches. Wait, Thane. Thane, thank you so much. Okay, wait, hold on. See, let me go.
Thane showing up again.
They said it's Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Y'all give Thane these shout outs.
And Thane says the Princess Diana stuff is a mess. Then why do you want me to get into the Princess Diana stuff?
It's a rabbit hole. I'm telling you, we will not see you, Katt. When you come back up, you're gonna have dirt on your face. Everything
Katt is good. Katt's going.
I'm scared though because there's a lot of people that like really love and really hate royal family stuff, and obviously like Diana's on the side of like one side of, it shifts, right? Because she's not fully embraced by all the people that love the royal family, but sometimes she is, and I'm just like, oh my god, it would just be a war zone if I started talking about that.
On TikTok, she covers like the royal family and she covers the news, and it's interesting to me because like the royal family is like an establishment, and they seem like they have their own little set of rules, and you have them here, and then you have the press. I hit the thing. You have the press that's covering them. And
see, that's whoever doesn't want you talking about the royals or Princess Diana coming for you. They said, "Bonk."
Then you have the press that covers them, and then it's like when Meghan Markle got in there, so then there's like a split in the press and all of this, and it's good luck. Good luck. I'm wishing you all the luck in the world.
Look, all I know is if the royals, they have to do a lot of like fundraising work and stuff, and I think that's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and
if you've got the money and time and you can go and do these things to raise awareness, I'm gonna applaud that and then say that that's the most I know.
And coming from the perspective as an American, it's that whole royal family situation is an interesting thing for me. It's an interesting thing for me. So listen, you let me know when you get on there. Thane, you're going to get up there with her and talk about this stuff too, because I want to sit and listen. I want to be in the chat listening to see how you go through this, because even people who are like on on YouTube, and like I said, I follow a girl on TikTok. It's a lot. And then like the comment section is in shambles, straight shambles, because you you have folks that are like pro the royal family. You have people that are are not. But when you start talking about Diana, that's a whole different
I
level.
never
That's
want
a
to touch
whole
it, man.
different
I
level.
would have honestly, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it. It's so
You would touch it.
divided. Like there's so many tribes within one tribe, within a tribe that's in another tribe, within that. Like it's you
It's a
can't be nuanced as well. Like it's not worth touching unless you can show a connection to Epstein. If you can do that, touch it as
Wasn't
much as
that
you want.
because of was that Charles? Who was this? Who Andrew? Who was the one
Um,
that was? It was Andrew.
Andrew,
Andrew.
yeah. And oh my god, the worst interview on earth. Oh my god. Did you see his BBC interview? Why would you why did he do
There's a lot of questions why people do interviews. Like I have that question for everybody. I have the same thing. Like the Fani Willis, you didn't have to take the stand, and if you did, you could have kept it to yes or no. So great. It was so much entertainment for us, but part of me was like, you didn't need to go do this. Courtney Clenney, the parents, why did you go do this TMZ interview? It's just a lot of the stuff is like just
I kid I
you
kid you
don't
not.
need to say it.
Or
So
it's before you
I
even
kid
have the trial. They're going to use your words against you. This before you have that. I don't understand.
Oh, the Clenney stuff. Okay. In terms of the
well, it's
Andrew
just
one,
like it's like violent. Well, did he have to? Was he under an obligation to address it? Like, do you think the family was like, you have to
yeah,
go out there?
yeah, yeah, 100%. Like if I was in Andrew's shoes, I actually understand why he would do it because it's most likely his family
But
like
would you
he
do it however you think he did it? Because I'm not exactly familiar
I
with the
would have
interview,
done
but it
like
seems like you were critical.
the way he done it, like the interviewer was not even pushing. The interviewer seems like someone that was like, okay, I'm just gonna come in here, ask safe questions because I don't want the royal family on my ass because you gotta think these people don't want to lose their dinner parties like privileges, you know.
Yeah.
So doing all that, she is thinking, let me just be safe because I don't know what's gonna come from this. The question she asked was not even tough. It was really, really lenient. So his answers were just, I was like, wow. I would not have answered like that. I would not have done anything like that, but I would definitely sit for the interview because you gotta protect your family's reputation, and he was already out. So he's kind of like, I gotta do damage control. I gotta
Well, is there okay? So you, because you're the UK person here, right?
Right.
And
Right.
like me over here in America, I'm like, oh, monarchy, yay! But there's still like, you guys have a judicial system, you guys have legislation, you guys. It's just it's like symbolic to us over here in America, right? Is there like a political obligation, like for us, whoever's president right now, it's Biden, like people get pissed off if they don't come and do like a press release about or a speech about XYZ event that's going on. So is there like a political obligation they're supposed to come forth and address certain things?
no. Royal family don't actually engage with the
Because
media
it
at all.
is okay.
They
Because
don't
I was like,
actually.
maybe I'm just like over exaggerating my perception of them being symbolic in terms
No,
of.
no. The highest you get from them is a press release, and they did do a press release in regards to Andrew, and which was his excommunicado. Like we don't want him anymore. Like that was the press release. That's the highest that they touched the subject. So what Andrew did was literally, I think he was again. Yeah, I'm not a royalist. I'm not, in that sphere, but I just think he was pressured to do it. I personally because it's a net negative. Like it's a net negative. I think he was actually pressured to do it. I don't think it was meant to go the way it did. And
Did it
and
because he wanted to get the stain off the
yep,
royal family and
yep,
put it
yep.
towards
He wanted to
yeah,
put it on himself
squarely
and
on
just be
his
like,
shoulder.
right, yeah, because he's. I mean, come on, his parents were like associated with the guy as well. Like they were not associated like he was, but
Mhm.
They were the
Well,
same
I think
party,
he's like elderly too, so it's like, scapegoat, good
Right,
choice if nothing else, like
right.
strategically. Because now since you mentioned like, oh, they did do a press release, it's like everyone coordinating on how we're gonna
What?
PR this.
Right.
Like,
Well, we're gonna move on from this. We're gonna move on. We're
like
gonna have a little.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna move on from this because this is one of those things where I don't have the bandwidth for all
Yeah,
of
I
that.
don't know. I like think I know enough, and then there's like a million things. Like I'm like, oh, I heard of things, and then I know this much.
You guys are just scared to have some come after you. I'm joking.
So let's get on to the title of this. I heard y'all bitches was looking for me, bitch. Here I
Hell
go.
you. Oh wow.
So we're gonna talk about this. This is more of let me share my screen because I saw this cat. I was in here working because my job, I work from 12 to 8:30. And so I have to have something that's going to keep me keep my and this right here, baby. When I saw this right here, I was like, what is going on? I don't understand. First, I don't understand why. She walked into the courtroom, y'all, and the way she walked in, it was like, I heard you bitches were looking for me. Bitch.
Yeah, so and I meant to go back and watch it, but someone told me that they didn't even swear her in because she got up.
I watched
They did?
it.
Okay.
For her in, but it was so much chaos going on, you didn't hear it. The
Because
judge.
some of the live streams don't like. Some will show like the Zoom cameras, and like depends on where you're watching it.
I watched it on Roland Martin's show, and they did show because he kept his stream going, like when she was just sitting there and on her, and a deputy did come and swear her in because she had asked when she walked in and she sat down. She says, "I need 3 documents. I need 1, 2, 3, and 4." So they started scrambling to figure out what those documents were, and in the middle of them scrambling for these documents, that's when they swore her in.
Okay,
But
that makes sense. Because it wasn't anything that I paid attention to when I was watching it, and then someone had mentioned it, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and look, and then I didn't get a chance to when we went live. So
we're just because this is my whole understanding. Now, if this young lady, this is Fani Willis. She is the Fulton County District Attorney. The Fulton County District Attorney's office has Donald Trump on trial for election interference. I don't know exactly what the legal terminology is, but apparently Trump and these people that are associated with Trump went through and were trying to get the state of Georgia to come up with almost 12,000 votes or something like that so that he could be declared the winner of the election or something like that. And there was a whole lot of stuff going on. You had 2 election poll workers that were threatened. You had a whole bunch of stuff going on. And so the Fulton County, they investigated and they found that there was a probable, I hope I'm saying these words right, Katt. They felt that there was probable cause, and so now they were in the middle of the trial or in the beginning of the trial, and somewhere in the trial, the special prosecutor, who is this man right here, what is his last name?
Nathan Wade.
Nathan Wade. He's in the middle of a divorce, or he had a divorce. Somewhere in there, they made mention that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis have had or are having a intimate relationship, and so they are now answering to this intimate relationship and whether or not that this Mr. Wade should be the special prosecutor or all of these little different things. So this is what these things are coming. This is where this information is coming from. So, Katt, I'm going to let you just kind of give us a more in detailed overview about what's going on.
All right, so my take on, because this is a 2-day hearing, right? We know this is not in front of a jury, you guys. This is a judge that's got to make this decision if there is in fact a conflict of interest based on what's available. And it can't just be the perception of a conflict of interest. It has to actually be provably a conflict of interest. With day 1, which would have been Thursday, you have Terrence Bradley come up. Terrence Bradley is another attorney in Georgia who was a business partner with Nathan Wade and was also representing him as a divorce attorney through Nathan Wade's divorce, which has been going on since like 2015, 16, something like that. Terrence Bradley is supposed to have personal knowledge of the personal relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, having a personal relationship, not just while he was appointed as special prosecutor, but before he was appointed as special prosecutor by Fani Willis. The issue with that would be if they're going on trips together and they're paying for all these things in cash, because Nathan Wade's going to testify, we split things and she would pay me back in cash. We'd split things halfway. Well, if she's inaugurated in January 2021, he's appointed as special prosecutor in November 2021, and he's made from that contract. This is not an employer relationship. It's not W-2. It's not salary. It's contracted. He's been paid $650,000 since November 2021. And they're going on these trips to Belize and whatever. The defense, and when I say the defense, that's all the co-counsel for the defendants in the election case, right? So it's Trump's attorney, it's Michael Roman's attorney. There's one other that's done a lot of questioning too, and I forget who they're representing. But they basically need to come out and establish not just that there was a personal relationship, but that it started before Fani Willis is saying it started. Nathan Wade signed an affidavit giving one time, but then two witnesses come up on the stand, one of them being Terrence Bradley, and then another woman with the last name Yurdi, who says, I used to live, I had a condo, Fani Willis moved in with me, she ended up taking over the lease, she lived with me, this was back years ago already, and during that time, Nathan Wade was coming over. I saw that's my personal knowledge. Nathan Wade and Fani Willis were already having a personal romantic relationship. And it was after that, so on Thursday, Terrence Bradley kind of testifies a little bit, but there's so much debate over what he's allowed to divulge because there could be attorney-client privilege, that the judge is like, hey, we have to talk about this more. He's going to get back on the stand on Friday a little bit, and then the judge is going to be like, we still need to talk about this a little more. I have to talk to you guys in private. So put that one aside for a little bit. But Yurdi, she comes up and she looks like a friend that's scorned, honestly. She's like, we used to live together. I would say we were close friends. We're not friends anymore, but she definitely had a relationship with Nathan Wade before she became a DA, right? So before she's elected. And to me, it honestly seems like Fani Willis got into court on Thursday she did not want to take the stand. Her team was still fighting to quash the subpoena, both for Nathan Wade and for her to take the stand. But either after Yurdi takes the stand, or because Nathan Wade has to take the stand, he ends up having to go up there. I think it was their testimony that compelled her to decide, nope, I'm going up there. And I'm really not sure if it was just because of Yurdi, because I think you could have discredited Yurdi by just saying you're a scorned friend, right? But I honestly think she wanted to get up there to discredit some of the things or set the record straight about some things that Nathan Wade didn't get right. So Nathan Wade kind of gives us this affidavit that he signs, and it alleges that the relationship didn't start until 2022. And then Fani Willis, in responding to the interrogatories, the request for information for this hearing, after it was Ashley Merton, so the Chesty attorney that everyone's talking about, she filed this complaint back in January that there was this conflict of interest. In an answer to the interrogatories, Fani Willis attaches this affidavit, which means if you're attaching this as something that supplements your argument, and you have to sign that what you're submitting is true to your knowledge, you're attaching this affidavit to it, now you're kind of co-signing Wade's statement that your personal relationship didn't start until 2022. The core of this issue is when this relationship started, and if that employment, that contract was given because of a personal relationship, and if any of that money that exchanged hands was something that personally benefited really either party, but mostly Fani Willis is the one that's the bigger issue here. When Fani Willis takes a stand, I don't know what to make of that, because obviously it's very entertaining, right? But a lot of it was just stuff that doesn't go to this affidavit or this timeline. And we end up finding out that, I did everything in cash. So there's no paper trail, which is like, that sounds great, but you're a DA And Nathan Wade he's running a business, and he's also an attorney that's now appointed as a special prosecutor in a very high profile case. So either you guys aren't really qualified to be in your position because you prosecute people and you know what it means to need to keep records for a business, for specific office work. And all that only came out because Fani Willis wanted to get up there and kind of brag about how she did everything in cash. And I think that it was one of those moments you should just shut your mouth. Should just shut your mouth. Because really I think there would have been doubt if you just go off Yurdi's testimony, and we still don't know if Terrence Bradley can really say enough yet. The judge is still deciding on what is covered by privilege, right? But Yurdi could have just been discredited as a scorned friend. So personally, I think it was a mistake for Fani Willis to take the stand, even though people in the public are like, yes, go get it, girl. Because the only thing that judge has to care about is when did that relationship start? When was that contract given out? And what do I make of these witnesses saying, the cash that was going back and forth between us to pay for our private things that we were doing, it was all gravy. Do I just take them at their word? The judge isn't going to care if someone came up and asserted themselves and told someone else, don't be cute with me. The judge isn't going to, it's not a jury trial, guys. A judge has a different discretion when he's supposed to make a decision. That's kind of my take. If we fast forward to Friday, it was a lot of the dad gets up on the stand. We also see a former governor get up on the stand, and his role was to come up and say, Nathan Wade wasn't Fani's first choice of who to appoint as special prosecutor, because she asked me too, and I told her no amount of money in the world could make me go through dealing with the stress of prosecuting a Trump trial, right? That's the essence of what he said. Now, that's supposed to look good for Fani Willis, and I ultimately think it does, because Fani doesn't bear the burden of proof here to show that there is a conflict of interest. It's all those co-defendants that have to show cause, right? So I think ultimately his testimony leans in favor of helping her. But I guess as a counter argument, you could say, well, if I knew I didn't want it to look bad, I'd ask the one guy I knew very well, because they work together. I asked the one guy I knew very well first, because I know he's not going to accept it. And then I'll go and ask the person I really want to offer the contract to, because then it won't look like I offered it to him right away. It looked like he was plan B. So, but I think, again, because of the burden of proof, and they didn't really probe into those questions, which I would have wanted to if I was one of the co-counsel. I'm surprised no one did. Right. As far as what's on the record, we have this respected governor saying, I was asked first and I didn't want to do it. I think Nathan, he's a great organizer. He has great organizational skills. So he gave some props to Nathan Wade for his organizational skills and kind of beefed him up for being chosen for the $650,000 so far contract. Dad gets up. I guess Dad would be more for you guys to talk about, I think, right? Because all I'm going to tell you is I don't think you need to say keeping cash is just a black thing. I think anyone could relate to that idea of understanding of why someone would keep cash. It doesn't always mean someone's trying to hide a paper trail of where money's going. Right. It doesn't mean that.
Because keeping cash is
like
I don't know about anybody else. We all have cash in the house now. I don't know to the extent of how much cash people keep in their homes. But it is a widely known thing that people do keep a lot of cash, and that has a lot to do. I don't know if I know in my community we do it, but it has a lot to do with banks collapsing and things like that, and having access to your money, and having if for whatever reason the banks collapse and you don't have money, you have this particular amount of money stashed so that you can have access to it when you want to. And it's not always necessarily in your home. It may be in places where you can access it.
Just something liquid. Because I was going to say, I'm not a cash in the mattress type of person, but I do believe in, having diverse holdings, because, some things are more liquid than others. Obviously, cash is cash. You can grab that right away and do something with it. But, a debit card is essentially cash until there's an electronic issue and you can't go and withdraw it. There's still liquidity there unless something weird is happening. But, a lot of things like, You know, depending on how you have stock held, you could sell a certain limit of that and get that as available cash right away too. So, you know,
even those things, because even those things have they don't always have a fail safe. Because my dad
yeah.
always talked to us about cash, and he always talked to us about gold, and he always talked to us about silver. You need to have those types of things readily available in your possession, because all of those things can go away if you need to barter. Because at the end of the day, if all those things go away, there's always an instance where you're going to need to barter for things and things like that, and cash will do it. If cash no longer is the viable currency, gold and silver always is available for you to barter.
Yeah, mine is just budget. It's just budgeting. I just use it for budgeting. Like, it makes it so much more efficient to do your groceries, and with just cash, knowing that you've got your digital currency for other things like investment and stuff, and you can just take what you need for the week, push it out. Like, I don't know, but that's me. When people were mocking that, I found it weird. I was like, this is actually, like, that's not.
I didn't really think people mocked it. I thought most people celebrated it, but I did see a lot of people suggest, you know, I'll give you my issue with it, and this is why I think Fani Willis, if you're going to go up there, girl, just say yes and no to certain questions, because you go and give us this range.
She didn't have to give. She was giving a lot of extra information that I thought that could have, and even the judge was trying to tell her, hey.
He was like, but you know, one of the things with the cash is she gave this kind of really obtuse range where, you know, sometimes it was a smaller amount, but it'd be, you know, 10,000, 5 figures that I'd be keeping in the house. And then they try to hit her about a tax lien, which is like, whatever. We know that just because someone has, as a human person, we know that just because someone has a bill doesn't mean they're not going to go and buy pizza, right? But it's also kind of like, it's a bad look for you to be telling us you have this much money kept in your house when you're a prosecutor, and your other RICO case that's going on right now, you're coming at other people implying that there's guilt because they're found with Percocets and cash, right? The cash is something to go to building that foundation to this behavior that we're prosecuting you for being criminal. And so, you know, it's just an interesting role that you're a prosecutor, and now we're hearing from your own mouth, and now we all get to say, well, don't come at me when I'm a defendant in a case because you found cash on me, or because you want to know what I did with my money, but it's because I keep cash. Like, don't come at me in Fulton County with any type of grievance about what I do with cash and imply that there's criminal activity going on because of my cash behavior.
Right.
And that's her title, right? That's because of her title and her role. It's not because of her demeanor or her family or her dad. It's just a DA in general getting up there and saying, like, it means nothing if you have cash and you do everything with cash and don't keep a paper trail. You know, you're supposed to document things that could be a gift in a monetary amount. So next time it's your job to scrutinize someone for that. People are going to side at you about it because it's the role that makes it an issue, not the idea that someone would keep cash. That's just what it is.
Exactly. All right. I got a little palate cleanser. I want to just cleanse our palate because I think we got one more story. It's going to be a little bit heavy. Let me share my screen. This has nothing to do with anything. It's just a little palate cleanser. I thought it was just a cute little thing. And we're going to listen.
Oh. No way.
Aww. How does that voice not hurt? Jesus.
Got chills.
That's really cute.
She did it at 42 in 1953. And she did it again, the same singer in 2006. And she did it when she was, so they were just using the sound, and her voice is still, that was just a little
See,
palate cleanser for everybody.
That's
Like I said,
awesome, because I think people kind of like feel uncomfortable about the elderly, right? Because it just seems like frail, like I'm around frailty and someone that's, and then you see that and it's just like that's so capable, because I couldn't do that.
I saw it and I was like, I got chills, and and you're right. One of the things that I want to think is that y'all, these people, people think because people are older that they, like you say, they're weak, they're frail, their minds are bad, but these people have so much knowledge, so much information that you can glean from them. Y'all glean this information, All right. All right, that was a little palate cleanser. Now we gonna get into this heavy stuff. Yeah.
Oh, the Texas word tracker.
So we're going to talk now. I am just going to go from what my understanding of what this, who this person is, and what this case is about. But basically, it's this. Back in, what is it, 2022? I believe it was 2022.
April 3rd, 2022.
2022. Courtney
I'm
Clenney.
lying. Wait, it was 2022. Yeah, 2022, because my brain forgets that we're in 2024. It's 2 years ago.
But it seems like it was last year, but it was really the year before last. Courtney Clenney stabbed her then boyfriend, Christian Ubunzeli. Courtney Clenney became famous. I remember her. She was on different little podcasts. She was an OnlyFans actress, is what I'm gonna say. She was an OnlyFans actress. She reportedly made up to like $3 or $4 million being an OnlyFans actress. She had a boyfriend. They apparently had a very tumultuous relationship. And that came to a head on April 3rd, 2022, where she stabbed him and he succumbed to his injuries. Now, the way that I became not involved in this case, but aware of this case, was on TikTok. Because I remember after that happened, the family had come out and they had asked people to assist them with getting this young lady prosecuted. Now, what inevitably happened, particularly, and if you have not followed or watched any of my videos about gender wars, please go back and follow this. What inevitably happened is they had asked Black women to get and be involved and to help rally the masses, like it happened within George Floyd and any things like that, because they felt like that she was getting away with murder, because at that point she hadn't been arrested yet. There was a TikTok video that came out where that Courtney was in Hawaii with her father, and a lady had confronted Courtney about killing her, being accused of killing her boyfriend. But anyway, as I go back and talk about that with Black women, the family had asked the Black women to assist with this. A lot of Black women decided we were not going to get involved, particularly because then what was unearthed, there was some tweets that Christian Ubunzeli had written back when he was in high school and also when he was in college, that was disparaging to Black women and ADOS Black people. And so a lot of people were like, okay, we just not going to get involved. You have called us names. You have said disparaging things to us, that we're not going to get involved. So fast forward to, when was it? Maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, the family had put out a video when they were in, I think it was Colorado.
Aspen, yep. It was for a creator collab OnlyFans shoot.
Yeah. They had put out a video because they were working very hard behind the scenes, and shout out to his family. They were working very hard behind the scenes to get this girl arrested. She inevitably was arrested and charged with
second degree murder, deadly weapon.
Thank you. And now what was happening is that you saw a video with her and Christian Ubunzeli. They were fighting and all of this other different things. She was upset. She was having all of these, I call them fits of rage. I really don't know how to categorize it other than that. Little fits of rages. We also have seen video of them in an elevator where they were fighting and tussling and things like that. So then let's fast forward to a couple of weeks ago. We find that her parents were arrested, and they were arrested for what was it, Katt?
Unauthorized access to a digital device computer.
And that had to do with it was Christian Ubumseli's laptop. They were trying to get in, and for whatever reason, they were sending text messages, IM messages, and all these other kinds of things, going back and forth saying that they got into the computer, got into the laptop. So they were arrested for that. So I don't think we have a trial date set for this case, do we?
No, there was a hearing yesterday, or yeah, yesterday, right? Say Saturday. There was a hearing yesterday, but I believe it pertained to, because they updated, it's like handed to the gang task force now for the parents and Courtney as co-defendants for the laptop thing. And I believe there was a hearing for that case now yesterday. But still no hearing date. They're still moving forward with some of these other issues that they have to figure out. They're still in the discovery phase, you guys. A week and a half ago, there was issues about the defense providing 4 new witnesses, and they didn't provide in their affidavit. They didn't provide like the addresses and things that you're supposed to provide as standard when you want to introduce witnesses, fact witnesses and expert witnesses. One of the expert witnesses they wanted to introduce is a knife throwing expert, and they didn't turn over a CV letter, like a cover letter that lays out someone's experience, any trials that they've testified for previously, which suggests to me that this expert witness has never been an expert witness in any trial ever before, but he's some guy that they got to demonstrate how you can fling a knife at something from 10 feet away and it could penetrate 3 inches into a piece of flesh. I keep doing the wrong shoulder, but a piece of flesh like over here. This is where it was a one single wound that night because Courtney Clenney has stabbed him previously. Not stabbed. The night he died, the knife was flung, according to Courtney Clenney. And they have an expert witness that they want to introduce that can show you can throw a knife at a pig carcass and it can penetrate 3 inches just like it did that night. If it's the same type of knife, it's the same weight. Obviously, one could say Courtney Clenney is obviously not a knife throwing expert, but then you could be like, well, she's used knives on Christian Obumseli before. Yes. There's a lot going on. They're still in the discovery phase. And I'm telling you this, the defense does not seem like they're able to find much because they're trying to introduce demonstratives and not fact evidence. So
I just want to, because I'm going to have to go now and get some shut eye, but I just want to leave on saying this, guys. It was 10 feet away, way more than 10 feet away. Then in the hearing, that was in the police interrogation. In the hearing, it turned out that she actually testified on the statement given to the police, like, you know, that it was 10 feet. No, it was actually 8 feet after she was asked to go into specifics. It was 8 feet, then it was 7 feet. Guys, if you fling a knife, let me just put it like this. I don't know what bicep routine she's doing. I don't know what arms routine she has at the gym. I don't know what she's benching, but I need to learn this because that velocity, that power that she has to throw a knife and enter 3. I love her. I love that superpower. Wolverine.
I've got one question for you before you go, though. Because if you're the client here, right? You're Courtney Clenney in this situation. Would you want your attorneys arguing for you how possible it is to throw this knife like an expert when there's previous evidence that you've used a knife against this person you killed's face and cut him, knife cut to the face? Would you want your defense reiterating to the jury that you're skilled with knives and capable of doing this?
Honestly, I want a plea deal.
I
don't think they offered one. I don't know if one was offered.
I'm trying to put that down to something. No, but I'm going to say that I saw that. I don't know if I saw it on your X. What did they call it?
Yeah, I censored it. It was a blurred. It's a clean cut, guys.
Clean cut. I mean, it's like one here and then it was a cut here.
It looks like someone slashed a face while I was moving and it just happened to nick 2 parts in one motion.
Right.
And that was 2 months before this. That was January of 2022.
And I also guess that she also flung a knife into his leg. She flung a knife into his leg as well. And that
there's debates on that though, because apparently the medical examiner didn't find a scar wound from that.
Did not find a scar wound from that.
But it could just be it still could have been thrown, and it just might not. It might have been like a surface scar. Like maybe that time she actually threw it and it cut in a way that wasn't like a plunge wound. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the incident being claimed, because that came from text messages, right? Like the idea that
it was
it could have been him describing it that way, and we just don't have an actual stab motion. It was like a surface fling, an actual fling this time.
But the question remains though: if she did fling that one, and it was not a stab, but it was like it dragged on the leg, why would this one magically be a stab 3 inches deep?
Yeah, like if I'm on trial, you are not going to tell people how many other times I've used a knife against the person I killed. You're just not. I'm not going to let you do that as a client. Like co-counsel me. Like I'm not.
I would.
I would try to get all that. Yeah, I would try to get all that. No, you're not going to do that. You wouldn't even talk about how many times that they were.
I wouldn't even want the jury looking at a video of a knife being thrown at a pig carcass, because it's just going to make them think of visualizing that happening to a real person. Like co-counsel me, let me tell you.
I don't. To be honest, I don't know how. I actually have no idea how she's going to argue this. I personally, I want to give her team the benefit of the doubt and just say they may have said, let's not go with this defense. And looking at her, how she is, like I'm talking how everyone that has known us.
I think they've got to work with what she told the police.
No. I actually think she actually told them, no, get someone in here that would definitely. I think she's a push. Not pushover. I think she's a pain in the ass. I think she's a hardhead. I think she's one of those people that they got this idea in their head and they think I can control this if I do this, because, and I'm only basing that on the police interrogation, because to me, I think she firmly believed because Christian was alive, because she firmly believed that. So she believed, okay, well, this is just gonna be like one of those days where we've gone to the police. He got blamed. Charges were dropped. The next day, I'll just talk my way out of this one like I always do. Blah blah. I think she's that kind of person that she's in that room being counseled. Let's not go with a knife defense. She's like, no. If I actually explain that I flung it like this and he was running towards me, that can.
What I was going to say, so Hines, can you actually turn, because I was looking at, if you guys saw me like going like this like 2 minutes ago, I was reading Tracker's comment. Can you show us your bicep, Hines? Show it off. Show us your guns. Like, let me see your shoulder. Like, lean this way, because you have arms that look more like Obumseli's size.
Listen,
but look, how long is from here to here?
I've been going gym years for this. So, right, here we go.
Yeah, but I need the side. How much depth is, like, if something, a knife enters here on you, let me see you from the side. How far in would 3 inches go? Right? Because that means, like, for me, the knife would be this far in.
Right.
Like, think about how far 3 inches would be in. If it's entering here, this is where it enters, and it's plunging 3 inches in. That's like a side view, a splice view. It'd be like, that's what's happening. That's why this guy succumbed to his injuries. It severed an artery because it was so deep. It's not just all flesh here. There's like bone all over.
Nothing can cause that. I'm sorry.
If you saw those pictures that they showed of the apartment, of the condo, when they went through that, I mean, it was.
Where was the floor space for him to even be running at her? There was stuff on the floor. How would he? Guys, if you haven't seen the crime scene photos, that condo looks torn up. Not because of a fight, but just looks like messy.
Yeah. It was messy.
I'm telling you, she is believing, if he was running at me at high speed and I threw it, that could cause it. She really believes this, and she's ordering a team go argue that. Team cannot say no. I firmly believe that, and I can't wait to see how she puts out that, because I'm actually very interested. I'm very interested to see how they put up that defense. I really am. I really am. Oh Lord. But anyway, guys, I till next time. Love you both. Always a pleasure. Miss Marco.
It just says Katt.
I love it. I love it, Pam. Love it.
Thank
Lord.
you. Thank you for showing up. You have a good night. You have a good night's sleep here.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Courtney, Clenney, I do want to shout out I think it was 2 girls, right? The Black girls that went to the father and Courtney Clenney while they were drinking at the Miami bar, the floor of some hotel in Miami. Those
was
girls
it
said,
Miami? I thought
yeah, it was Miami. It was before the arrest. So she
right.
was in Hawaii for like PTSD, like therapy and substance use therapy. And that's where they end up like getting the warrant for Hawaii locals to arrest her. But that was in a Miami hotel not long after it. And, you know, shout out to those 2 Black girls because they didn't care. They knew that that's some bullshit. I don't know if they have like a grievance with maybe Christian Novumselli now, and I hope they don't, because nobody deserves to die just because they said that they want to date a white girl or whatever.
Not because of just the volatile nature. I think that explain to me, because is there now a gag order against the family and against the prosecution and defense about putting information out? Because I know when they sent that Colorado information out, there were like some harsh wordings or harsh ooh, child, I didn't realize I had this much blush on.
So I actually took interest in tuning in on this because I was like, oh, I don't like when there is a lack of transparency being forced by a prosecution. I do not think the government, that's the prosecution, should have a leg up with their power over a defendant's right to a fair trial. And a fair trial can also include what's being put out in the press before trial even takes place, because that could taint the jury pool. Now, this is a high-profile case. That's a higher risk than normal. There was this idea when this Aspen, Colorado video dropped. There was this idea going on that the prosecution went and put that out in the media. The prosecution did put it into discovery. They put it into discovery, but it was obtained just because it was public records at that point. So the Haggard law firm ends up talking about it, but they're not the ones that they got it because it was public records. So there's a response. The Clenney attorneys, it was Sabrina and Frank, both go on a court TV interview. And they're like, well, we're here because we want to counter some of the stuff that's going on. The prosecution keeps putting this stuff in the media. It's unfair to our client. And now we have a hearing this Thursday. And I covered the hearing if you guys want to go watch it. Very efficient judge, you guys. It was an hour-long hearing with a ton of stuff being laid out. We have this order, this hearing we have to appear for because the prosecution, the state wants us to show cause for some of the things that we're doing, like to be doing these interviews with you guys, Court TV. And all we're trying to do is address the things that they are leaking to the press. They want to put a gag order on us now. So the defense goes and complains about this in an interview. And I'm like, all right, I'm listening, because that is kind of fair, right? I don't think the public records request can be pinned on the prosecution. They didn't go and do like some contrived press release. It just was entered as evidence and became part of public record because Florida is very open with their sunshine laws. It's very accessible. But when it came to the initial press conference, they did make sure the medical examiner spoke. They did make sure they had that elevator video. That was very coordinated. And I was like, fair enough, right? I tried to give the benefit of the doubt. Well, it turns out this motion hearing, the motion that was filed, so the prosecution has made a request about a very specific thing that they felt the defense, and I agree, crossed a gray line on. And it was because in another interview months previously, Frank Prito, Clenney's attorney, just drops this bombshell that Christian Novumselli was SA'd or R-worded by his father. So Christian Omoselli is no longer with us. The father's still living. You're bringing another party and making this accusation in an interview to the press. So this is the thing, a specific thing that the state took an issue with. And off the record, or they didn't calendar a hearing. Now, what that means, they put forward this request 2 or 3 months ago. Hey, Judge, we want to put this on the record here, that we're making this request that the defense doesn't go and like say these bombshell things that bring in a whole nother party out to the press for no reason. But we don't want to calendar it. And what that means is there's not going to be a televised hearing to talk about this issue, which means it's keeping the heat and the light off the defense. That's the prosecution throwing a bone to the defense. They repeated this request a month later, and then we get fast forward to this. The defense is doing a whole interview with Court TV saying they're trying to put a gag order on us. You listen to that hearing, that is not what they were trying to do. This state prosecutor was so like gentle and limited in what they actually wanted to. Just don't say this crazy statement in the press about the father doing that. And don't you wish you had a prosecutor like that in certain other cases?
Right.
Because that's kind of where I am on the case. So the whole gag order thing is something I was like, oh, that looks bad. That's not right. And then it was really, I think it was 100% misrepresented by the defense. I think they were bullshitting about it.
All right, people. Hold on. This is coming. We're going to spend, oh, Lord, I didn't realize we had been over here 2 hours. Shout out to Katt and shout out to Dr. Hines. We appreciate them. But what I'm going to put in the chat, I am going to put the link. So if some of you want to come up, let me find the chat. I'm going to add the link into the chat. And if anybody wants to come up and
come hang out,
because we'd love to hear from you. I enjoy it. I really do. Let me put the link in the chat. There it is. Give you all a few minutes. And again, what I ask is you're going to come backstage. I need to see your face. And then when you come on screen, we can use your avatar if you want to. I'm an introvert, like most of you all say that you all are introverts. So y'all come on up. Come on up. And let's talk about the topics that we have talked about. I want to hear what you all have to say. I see what you all are typing down in the comments. So if anybody wants to come up, I'm going to wait a few more minutes to talk about any of the topics that we have. Katt, is there anything that you wanted to kind of go over really quick about what's going on with you and going on with your channel and what we can look forward to as we see if anybody else is going to come up?
I think recent for me, I did the Jonathan Majors case law on the self-defense justification. Guys, Priya Chaudhry isn't a bad attorney. You know, I've seen it alleged. Why didn't she put forth an affirmative self-defense case? I did a video breaking down why. And I think it was the right decision. I also think there's an extra layer that Jonathan Majors may have asked for it, because if he came out in April, June, whatever, and said, yeah, I injured her, but it was self-defense, we would have had media and Marvel and everyone being able to say, he definitely injured her. It's not just an allegation anymore because he said it himself. So there's that extra layer, right? But New York State has its own, and some other states do too, its own way of looking at defense and affirmative defense. Typically, a lot of states, affirmative defense is kind of like always when you assert self-defense. It's always an affirmative. But that's not the case in New York. And then there's case law that suggests that no matter how the defense counsel approached what they believe happened that night, they didn't need to come out and say, yes, Jonathan Majors injured her, but it was in self-defense. They never needed to say that for it to still be required that the court should have read a self-defense justification charge to the jury, and the court failed to do that. So if you guys have that irritation that you felt like, well, why didn't he claim self-defense? Go watch that video. It'll make it all make sense. Promise. And then Pam, I don't know if you caught any of that, but
I did. I watched, I was watching from the thing. I caught a lot of that because when you were talking about that, I was like, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. What do you think? Will Judge Gaffey hear this information, or will this go to another judge to
For
hear
the
this?
motion to set aside, it's Gaffey. But
Okay.
this same, guys, this is a preview of the same type of argument that we could see on an appeal. It's just going to take longer, you know. But yeah, it's going to be Judge Gaffey being asked to consider his own error. So yeah, if he'll agree, I don't think so. But all of the case law happens at the appellate level anyway.
Right.
So
Because I was thinking, you know, do we think, because the thing that interested me most when you were talking about the you were reading the law about the oh, come on, I can't think of the word. Give me a second. About, it wasn't self-defense. I'm trying to get the words when you were talking about that the judge should have put that in when he was talking to the jury about the charges to the jury or the instructions to the jury, that
yeah.
he should have put that. Well, go over that really
So
quick.
this is confusing language because I'm going to say justification charge. Now, the reason it's called formally a charge is because it's going to be an element when I'm reading you the assault charge, when I'm reading you the harassment charge. I should also be reading a justification charge. And it's called a charge because it's a segment, it's a section of New York's penal code. So formally, it's just categorized as a charge, but it's really a paragraph just that you'd add to jury instructions, and you'd read to the jury, and you'd explain to the jury that if you think this person had a reasonable belief that, and in the specific instance here, it was theft of personal property and larceny, right? And we know that Grace Jabari there was probable cause for 2 different police officers to believe she committed criminal larceny or criminal mischief against Jonathan Majors, right? So the jury would have been instructed and should have been instructed, but they were not. Hey, if you believe that this person, Jonathan Majors, the defendant, did these other things, then you need to ask, did he have a reasonable belief that this other person that he did this thing to was committing this act against him? Because if you think that he had a reasonable belief that this was happening to him, now it's justified. So the reason it's called a charge is because it's something that the jury has to make a decision on. Essentially, if they say, yes, we think he committed reckless assault, they'd also then go to the next line item and be asked, well, do you think he had a reasonable belief that someone was committing criminal mischief against him? Okay, yes or no. Do you think that he reacted because of that belief? Yes or no. So, and case law says that the court should read that to a jury when any defense could have been possible based on the record at trial. And we have 2 witnesses in the trial, Grace Jabari and Narwar Savid, the driver, saying he did not think she was doing everything. And then Grace Jabari saying, I was the aggressor. I started the fight. I tried to grab his phone. I also hit him again another time, but we don't even need to get into that. So it doesn't need to be that Priya Chaudhry or Seth or even Jonathan Majors get up there and say, I responded and it was self-defense. The mere possibility, and it must be looked at in the way that's the most favorable to the defendant, which is Jonathan Majors, if anything in the record of trial suggests that something may have been defensive about what we're charging here, we must also read this justification charge to the jury. And this is New York case law that sets this precedent, multiple cases that set this precedent. It's very, very strong for Jonathan Majors. For at an appeal level, guys, we're going to have to wait for it to get to an appeals court because I don't think Judge Gaffey is going to.
That would seem he would.
But Priya filed it, and we get, the public, us, we get to look at it now and be like, oh, Priya probably knew that this New York Times article was coming, but she put this information out there so people like us could be like, well, March 25th isn't explained.
Yeah. All right. It went twice. Let's see what we got going on. Agreed, it needs to go to appeals court. Oh, Hazel.
Who is the one? She's supposed to be in a gala tomorrow. She's not even named on like the show flyer for it though. But she's been posting about it, and someone is going to the gala. It's in London. It's at the London Palladium Theatre. And someone's like, oh, I know I have to see Grace when I go tomorrow. That's tomorrow. I don't remember who it was, though. But I want to know because I'm messy and I'm nosy.
I'm nosy too. I'd love to know, but we won't know until after it. All right. I put it out there once. I put it out there twice. I put it out a third time. It's gone. Again, I'm gonna give you like 3 or 4 minutes. If anybody wants to join from Katt's channel, from my channel, it doesn't matter. Just I wanted to know what you all thought about these topics that we went over. I do want to thank Dr. Hines for showing up. I do want to thank Katt for coming on and giving us all the legal spiegel. I come up here with all the little messy talk, but that's okay because that's just who I am. Let's see. All right. If there's anybody trying to get on, if you could put it down in the chat, because I will wait to see if you're going to try. If not, we're getting ready to close this out. We're getting ready to close this out. Let's see what's going on.
It was just me saying, I don't know.
All I said, that's a rabbit hole. She's gonna be down there for a while because it's just so much stuff about this royal family. I'm just giggles and giggles to be able to look through it, but just the veracity of the press around the royal family, the people, and I only came to it because of the fact that when Meghan Markle married into the royal family, it became like the press around it was already one thing. When she came into the family, the press around it just got spun up into this whole huge stuff. And
I think American news took more interest then too, because that's an American actress that's well enough known. Like Scandal was a big show at the way that was a show she was in. Like I feel like I saw more news about the royals coming into American media rather than just like the big things.
Yeah, she was in Suits. She was in the show called Suits. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I just knew. Like I said, I wasn't even familiar with the show. I wasn't even familiar with anything until they showed her, and I was looking at her like, "Oh, okay, all right. We'll see what's going on."
And I agree. Like they get the press because it's good for clicks,
right? Could be. I know that they and it was the girl that I follow on TikTok. She kind of put up that how the press will just eat Meghan alive for doing something, and then Kate would do the same thing, and they would praise her for whatever it was she did. It was just like wow. Oh, I didn't see Chill in here about the T'Challa. That might be true.
I think there was another live stream. I think it was on my channel, and Chill was on it, and Princess Diana came up, and I was like, oh, you're in Canada. Is it like symbolic there? Because like that's still like Canada's queen or something, right? Like, and he was just like, I don't know.
I forget. I forget. There was a show. There was a show that came out of Canada that I used to like. It was about a coroner, Da Vinci something. It was that was years ago. I used to love to watch that show that came out of Canada. All right, people. Please, we're going to end this show. Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell that coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. Y'all follow Katt. And also, if you are following me or if you have found me through Katt, come on by. Follow me. I'm a good time over here.
Yeah, we got to get Pam to 1,000 before we'll say my birthday's in March. So that's going to be my birthday gift is Pam getting to 1,000. So let's do it.
Come on by. We go over things. I'm going to go see the Bob Marley movie tomorrow, and I'll be doing my review on that movie and let y'all know how I feel about that. But y'all, again, I appreciate you all coming to my live stream. I think I'm going to continue this. I would love for you all to come up and to give your opinions about what's going on, particularly with the stories that we have. If you have a particular story that you would like for me to go over, please let me know. I'm at PamEntertainmentTV@gmail.com. Just let me know. You can send me the link to the story. Say, hey, could you review this? I definitely will review it and we'll go over it. All right, people. We do this every week. We do it every week. We do it every week. Again, tell a kin, tell a friend, tell your coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.